Mejia Polanco was shot dead Sunday morning while driving alone on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. In March on social media, the victim showed off this luxury SUV, which appears to be the same vehicle she was driving Sunday. Her body found in that vehicle not far from 42 Broad, where she rented an apartment. Mejia Polanco also owned a large home in the northern suburbs. Friends and family there declined comment.
As Ariela Mejia Polanco got to her car, she was shot to death. This was unbelievable at first. Someone with over 500,000 fans who love what she does. I mean, this lady recently bought a brand new 2025 G-Wagon and celebrated on Instagram. Well, just 3.5 hours before she died, at 4:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, she walked out of Icon, New York, a popular Manhattan lounge where she worked as a hostess, tired but happy, after another good night. At 33, Ariela was living two completely different lives. Her 570,000 Instagram followers saw the glamorous side. Designer clothes, VIP parties, hanging out with celebrities like rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine. What they didn't see was a mom working multiple jobs to take care of her two teenage daughters, ages 13 and 14. When she got in her car that morning, tired as hell, Ariela had no clue someone had been watching her. Someone who knew exactly when she got off work. Someone who had been planning to kill her. The streets were empty, clubs were closing, most people were heading home after their nights out. But someone was wide awake, waiting for the perfect moment to make their move. Her last Instagram post shows her smiling at work, completely clueless that she was posting for the last time. Over 500,000 people followed her every move, but nobody could save her from what was about to happen. In fact, Cardi B even showed her condolences to Ariela via her Instagram story. The question everyone's asking, who wanted this mom dead so badly they were willing to hunt her down in the early morning darkness? Welcome to our channel. Right now there are influencers and nightlife workers just like Ariela Mejia Polanco sharing their locations online, working late shifts alone, and living their lives in the public eye, completely unaware of the dangers that come with digital fame and visibility. If you care about protecting content creators and nightlife workers from becoming targets, then please like this video, share it with someone, and subscribe to this channel. Don't let her story be forgotten, and don't let it happen again. But first, let me tell you about the woman behind the Instagram account and the deadly secret someone was willing to kill for. Ariela Mejia Polanco wasn't born into fame. She came to New York from the Dominican Republic with big dreams and an even bigger heart. Like thousands of other immigrants, she worked hard to build a life in America. But Ariela had something special, a magnetic personality that could light up any room she walked into. By day, she was just mom. She lived for her two daughters, ages 13 and 14, making sure they had everything they needed. Friends say she was the kind of mother who never missed a school event and always put her kids first. She worked multiple jobs to pay the bills and give her girls a better life than she had growing up. But when the sun went down, Ariela transformed into La Langosta, the lobster. This wasn't just a nickname. It became her brand, her identity, and eventually her ticket to fame. She started posting on Instagram in 2018, sharing photos of her outfits, her work, and her life in the city. Her followers loved her energy and her realness. Ariela worked at some of New York's most exclusive venues. Icon New York in Manhattan was her main job, but she also worked at Opus Lounge in Inwood and had connections to other high-end clubs like Starlet of NY. These weren't just any nightclubs. These were places where celebrities, athletes, and wealthy business people came to party. Her big break came when she met rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine. The controversial artist saw something in Ariela that others had missed. In 2023, she appeared in his music video for Wapaye, which gave her even more exposure. Tekashi often posted about their friendship. Through him, she met other stars like Cardi B, but fame came with a price. As a single mother in the spotlight, Ariela faced challenges most people never see. She had to balance raising 2 teenagers while working late nights in clubs. She dealt with online hate, jealous competitors, and people who wanted to use her for her connections. Her co-workers at the clubs remember her differently than her Instagram followers might expect. They say she was humble, kind, and always treated everyone with respect. She never acted like she was better than anyone else. Even as her follower count grew to over 570,000 people, Ariela had addresses in both Westchester and Rockland counties, showing she was doing well financially. But she never forgot where she came from or stopped working hard. Even with her fame, she continued showing up to work at the clubs, building real relationships with people who became like family to her. What her followers didn't know was that being in the public eye had made her a target. Someone was watching her every move, learning her patterns, and planning something terrible. Sunday morning, August 17th, 2025, was supposed to be a quiet day. Most people were sleeping in after a long Saturday night. The cross-county parkway in Mount Vernon was relatively empty, just the usual early morning traffic of people heading to work or coming home from overnight shifts. At exactly 8:00 a.m., a driver noticed something wrong on the eastbound lanes near the Broad Street exit. A car was parked on the shoulder at a strange angle. The windows looked damaged, and something about the scene didn't feel right. The drivers slowed down to get a better look and immediately knew this was serious. They pulled over and called 911. Within minutes, police sirens filled the morning air as Westchester County Police rushed to the scene. What officers found when they arrived was devastating. Behind the wheel of the car sat Ariela Langosta, the vibrant 33-year-old mother and Instagram star who had left work just hours earlier. She was dead. The car told a story of violence. The windows were shattered, spider-webbed with cracks from multiple impacts. Bullet holes dotted the vehicle's exterior, showing this wasn't a single shot or accident. Someone had fired repeatedly at this car, making sure their target wouldn't survive. The location itself was telling. The cross-county parkway near Mount Vernon is about 20 miles north of Manhattan, roughly the route someone would take driving home from Icon, New York, to the northern areas where Ariela had addresses in Westchester and Rockland counties. Police immediately secured the crime scene with yellow tape, shutting down the eastbound lanes and causing major traffic delays. Crime scene technicians began their careful work, photographing every angle, collecting evidence, and documenting what would become a murder investigation. The bullet holes in the car showed this was a planned attack. The shooter had fired multiple rounds, ensuring their victim couldn't escape or survive. The pattern of damage suggested someone who knew what they were doing. Detectives started canvassing the area immediately, looking for witnesses who might have seen or heard something. They knocked on doors of nearby businesses and homes, hoping someone had noticed unusual activity in the early morning hours. The car's position on the highway raised questions. Had Ariela been followed from Manhattan? Did she realize she was being hunted and tried to escape? Or was she ambushed at this specific location because someone knew her route home? Within hours, news of the discovery began spreading through social media. Ariela's followers, who had watched her Instagram stories from work just hours earlier, couldn't believe she was gone. The woman who had been laughing and smiling at Icon, New York, was now the victim of what police were already calling a targeted killing. The Westchester County Police Department released a statement confirming what everyone feared. Preliminary investigation determined that the woman was likely targeted for violence and her death was not a random act.
But we do believe guns were involved, a gunshot was involved. We believe this is a very isolated incident and this woman may have been targeted independently.
As the morning progressed, the reality set in. Ariela's 2 teenage daughters had lost their mother. The nightlife community had lost one of its brightest stars. And somewhere out there, a killer was walking free, having successfully carried out what appeared to be a carefully planned murder. Within hours of finding Ariela's body, detectives knew they were dealing with something much more serious than a random shooting. The Westchester County Police Department made it clear from the start. This was a targeted attack, not a crime of opportunity. Detective teams immediately began working the case from multiple angles. They started by tracing Ariela's final hours, trying to understand exactly what happened between 4:30 a.m. when she left Econ, New York, and 8:00 a.m. when her body was discovered. That 3.5-hour window held the key to solving her murder. The location where Ariela was found wasn't random either. The cross-county parkway near the Broad Street exit in Mount Vernon sits right between Manhattan and the northern areas where Ariela lived. Someone familiar with her routine would know she'd likely take this route home from work. What made investigators even more concerned was how well planned this attack appeared to be. The killer didn't just happen to run into Ariela on the highway. They knew where to find her, when she'd be vulnerable, and how to carry out the attack without being seen. The evidence at the scene painted a picture of a methodical killer. The multiple bullet holes in Ariela's car showed someone who came prepared for violence. This wasn't a single shot fired in anger, it was an execution carried out by someone who wanted to make sure she didn't survive. Police began reviewing security footage from Icon, New York and surrounding businesses, looking for anyone who might have followed Ariela when she left work. They also started checking traffic cameras along possible routes between Manhattan and Mount Vernon, hoping to track her car's movements during those missing hours. The case quickly grew beyond local police resources. Multiple agencies joined the investigation, including local Mount Vernon Police, Westchester County detectives, New York State Police, and even federal investigators. When this many agencies get involved, it usually means the case has connections that cross state lines or involves organized crime. Detectives started building a timeline of Ariela's life, looking for anyone who might have wanted her dead. They interviewed her co-workers at Icon, New York, Opus Lounge, and other venues where she worked. They spoke with friends, family members, and people in her social media circle. What they found was puzzling. Everyone described Ariela the same way: kind, humble, hardworking, and devoted to her children.
I'm very heartbroken. Just coming now is very, knowing that she had her 2 daughters, very sad.
It really hurts, Dominican, very beautiful. Such a thing like this, very, very sad.
She didn't have enemies. She wasn't involved in drugs or illegal activities. She was just a single mother trying to build a better life for her family. This made the targeted nature of her murder even more mysterious. Someone had gone to great lengths to kill a woman who, by all accounts, was well-liked and stayed out of trouble. The question investigators kept asking was simple: why would anyone want Ariela dead? The killer's planning became more obvious as detectives dug deeper. This person knew Ariela's work schedule, her route home, and the best place to intercept her. They came armed and ready to kill. They chose a location where they could escape quickly without being seen. Phone records became a crucial part of the investigation. Detectives analyzed Ariela's calls and text messages, looking for any threats or unusual communications. They also started tracking the phones of people in her circle, trying to see if anyone had been monitoring her movements. Social media added another layer to the investigation. With over 570,000 followers, Ariela had a massive online presence. Investigators had to consider whether someone from her digital world had become obsessed with her or felt threatened by her success. The fact that no arrests have been made weeks after the murder shows how challenging this case has become. Despite having multiple agencies working around the clock, investigators haven't publicly named any suspects or revealed a clear motive. What's particularly frustrating for police is that this appears to be a professional hit. The killer left little evidence behind, chose their location carefully, and disappeared without a trace. This suggests someone with experience in violence, not a first-time criminal acting on emotion. The investigation continues to focus on Ariela's connections to the nightlife world and her relationship with high-profile figures like Tekashi 6ix9ine. While there's no evidence linking any specific person to the murder, investigators are exploring whether her associations might have made her a target. As weeks pass without an arrest, Ariela's family and friends grow more frustrated. They want answers, they want justice, and most importantly, they want to know that the person who killed a devoted mother is behind bars. The news of Ariela Langosta's murder spread like wildfire through social media and New York's nightlife community. Within hours of the discovery, tributes began pouring in from celebrities, friends, and fans who couldn't believe that the vibrant woman they knew as La Langosta was gone. Cardi B, the Bronx-born rapper who understood the struggles of Dominican women in New York, was among the first major celebrities to pay tribute. She posted simply but powerfully, "R.I.P. Dominican Pretty." Those 3 words carried the weight of a community's grief and showed how Ariela had touched people far beyond her immediate circle. Tekashi 6ix9ine's tribute was even more emotional. The controversial rapper who had worked closely with Ariela and featured her in his 2023 WAP music video called her a tremendous woman and the Queen of New York. He referred to her as his sister and ended his heartfelt message with words that captured everyone's feelings. "NY won't ever be the same. I loved you." Other celebrities joined the chorus of grief. La Superal, Offset, and many other stars shared their condolences, showing how widely respected Ariela was in the entertainment world. Each tribute brought more attention to her story and highlighted the impact she had made in her 33 years. The nightlife venues where Ariela worked were hit especially hard. Icon New York, where she had worked her final shift, posted a heartbreaking tribute. "Our hearts are broken. Your joy, your humility, and the way you treated everyone with so much care always made you stand out." The club that had been her workplace became a symbol of loss for the entire industry. Opus Lounge, another venue where Ariela had built lasting friendships, remembered her as a light, a joy, and an angel of nightlife. They announced they would remain closed on Sunday in her honor, a rare gesture in an industry that rarely stops. Other venues like Starlet of NY also paused operations to reflect on her impact. The Dominican community throughout New York felt this loss deeply. Ariela represented success and hope for many immigrant families. She had built a life, raised 2 children, and achieved fame while staying true to her roots. Her death felt personal to people who had never met her but saw themselves in her story. In Dominican neighborhoods from the Bronx to Queens, people gathered to share memories and support each other. Churches held special prayers, and community centers became places where people could process their grief together. The Dominican flag flew at half-staff in several areas, a visual reminder of the community's loss. But the most heartbreaking aspect of this tragedy was the reality facing Ariela's 2 daughters, ages 13 and 14. In an instant, they had lost their mother, their protector, and their world. The community immediately rallied around them, with family, friends, and even strangers offering support. Social media became a place of mourning and remembrance. Ariela's Instagram account, which had entertained over 570,000 followers, became a memorial where people shared their favorite memories and photos. The comments sections filled with broken heart emojis, prayers, and promises to never forget her. The shock of her death went beyond just sadness. It was fear. If someone as beloved and seemingly safe as Ariela could be targeted and killed, what did that mean for other women in the nightlife industry? Her murder forced an entire community to confront uncomfortable questions about safety and vulnerability. Social media has changed how we live, but it has also created new dangers that many people don't think about. For influencers like Ariela Mejia Polanco, being famous online comes with risks that can be deadly. The world of social media influence is built on image and reputation. Everything has to look perfect. Your clothes, your lifestyle, your connections. It all has to match what your followers expect. This pressure pushes some influencers to make risky choices. They might work in dangerous environments, associate with questionable people, or ignore safety warnings, all because it looks good for their brand. Nightlife culture adds another layer of danger. Clubs, lounges, and late-night venues are where influencers like Ariela often work and create content. But these places can be unpredictable. There's alcohol, late hours, and people who might not have good intentions. When you're building your following in the nightlife world, it's easy to ignore warning signs. The need for exciting content and maintaining connections can override common sense about safety. Being visible online also means dealing with obsessed fans and potential stalkers. Some followers cross the line from admiration to obsession. They might show up at places you've posted about, learn your work schedule, or even threaten you if you don't respond to their messages. For young women especially, this attention can quickly turn dangerous. The pressure to maintain an image can also lead to poor decision-making about personal safety. Influencers might ignore gut feelings about dangerous situations because they don't want to seem paranoid or lose opportunities. They might continue routines that make them vulnerable because changing them would affect their content or work. Money and success add another complication. Successful influencers often display wealth. Designer clothes, jewelry, nice cars. This makes them targets for robbery and other crimes. Criminals know that popular influencers are likely to have valuable items and cash, making them attractive victims. As Ariela Polanco's story tragically shows, the digital world and real world are connected. Online fame can make you vulnerable in ways that aren't always obvious until it's too late. When police say a murder was targeted, it means the killer didn't choose their victim randomly. Someone specifically wanted Ariela Polanco dead, and they planned her murder carefully. But why would anyone want to kill a mother of two who was beloved by everyone who knew her? The first theory investigators are exploring is jealousy within the nightlife world. Ariela was successful, popular, and had connections that others might have envied. In the competitive world of social media and nightclub culture, success can breed enemies. Maybe someone felt threatened by her growing influence, or angry about opportunities she received that they didn't. The connection to rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine has also raised questions. The controversial artist has a history of legal troubles and conflicts with other people in the music industry. Some investigators wonder if Ariela was killed because of her association with him. Maybe she was targeted to send him a message, or perhaps someone thought hurting her would hurt him. The timing of the attack is also significant. Whoever did this knew exactly when Ariela would be leaving work and what route she would take home. This suggests someone who had been watching her for a while, learning her patterns and waiting for the right moment. This level of planning points to someone with a serious grudge or a professional killer hired by someone else. Investigators are likely looking at several key areas. They're examining her phone records to see who she was talking to in the days before her death. They're reviewing security footage from New York and other places she visited regularly. They're also interviewing people in her social circle, looking for anyone who might have had a reason to want her dead. The fact that multiple agencies are involved, local, state, and federal, suggests this case might have connections beyond just New York. Maybe the killer has ties to organized crime, or perhaps this murder is connected to other cases in different states. What makes this case so puzzling is that Ariela seemed to have no enemies. Everyone describes her as kind, humble, and hard-working. This makes investigators think the motive might be something she wasn't even aware of. Maybe she accidentally got involved in something dangerous without realizing it. The truth is, until someone is arrested, we can only guess at the real motive. But one thing is clear. Someone wanted Ariela dead badly enough to plan and carry out a professional-style execution. What theory makes the most sense to you? Was this about jealousy, money, or something darker? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Ariela's tragic death teaches us important lessons about staying safe in the digital age, especially for people who work in nightlife or have large social media followings. The first rule is to be careful about what you share online. Don't post your exact location in real time. If you want to share where you've been, wait until after you've left. Avoid posting your work schedule or regular routines that make it easy for someone to track your movements. Turn off location services on your social media apps and think twice before tagging yourself at specific places. For people working in nightlife, safety should always come first. Never leave work alone, especially late at night. Ask a coworker to walk you to your car or arrange for someone to pick you up. If you have to drive yourself, vary your route home so you don't become predictable. Park in well-lit areas close to the entrance and always check your car before getting in. Nightclub owners and managers also have a responsibility to protect their workers. They should provide security escorts to parking areas, install good lighting around the building, and have cameras that actually work. Staff should be trained to recognize suspicious behavior and know how to report it. Communities need to look out for each other too. If you see someone being followed or harassed, speak up or call for help. Create group chats with co-workers so you can check in with each other after shifts. The nightlife industry should work together to share information about potential threats. Most importantly, if you feel unsafe, change your routine immediately. Don't worry about disappointing followers or missing work opportunities. No job or social media post is worth your life. Ariela's story reminds us that the dangers of being in the public eye are real, and we all need to take them seriously. The investigation continues with local, state, and federal agencies working together to find answers. Police have made it clear this was a targeted attack. Someone wanted Ariela dead. But weeks have passed since that Sunday morning when she was found shot multiple times in her car on the Cross County Parkway, and still no arrests have been made. Her family deserves justice. Her daughters deserve to know why their mother was taken from them. The nightlife community that loved her deserves answers. And society deserves to understand how a hard-working mother became the victim of what appears to be a carefully planned execution. The search for her killer continues, but justice delayed is justice denied. Someone out there knows what happened to Ariela. Someone saw something, heard something, or knows who wanted her dead. Her memory deserves more than silence. As we wait for answers, we can honor Ariela by remembering her as she truly was, a loving mother, a loyal friend, and a woman who brought joy to everyone around her. Her legacy should be more than just another unsolved case file. If you have any information about Ariela's murder, please contact the Westchester County Police. Her daughters are counting on it. If this crime story moved you, please like this video and share as well. Subscribe for updates on this case as the investigation continues. Ariela's story isn't over until justice is served.